Welcome to We Politics, brought to you by the Windsor-Essex Catholic District School Board. I'm your host, Rob Miller. During this series, we will be talking with the candidates of the two Windsor ridings and the Essex riding. All 17 candidates were invited. We will be talking with Leo Demarce after a word from our sponsor.
Are you passionate about a particular sport? Would you like to combine it with your education? Are you thinking about a career in one of the many rewarding construction-related trades? Do you love subjects like science, technology, engineering, or math? Take a look at the academies of the Windsor-Essex Catholic District School Board. You'll be glad you did. And years from now, you'll look back on your high school days as the best times of your life. The academies of the Windsor-Essex Catholic District School Board. We're with you all the way.
Leo Demarce is the conservative candidate for Windsor-Tecumseh. He is a small business software consultant and the co-owner of a small business in Tecumseh. Welcome.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you. Why do you want to be a member of Parliament? You got a successful business career going. Why go to public service?
I think the bottom line is I'm a patriot. I've always wanted to serve my community. I come from a family where service to our community is part of our culture. My dad was a volunteer firefighter and president of the Goodfellows. My sister carried on that legacy from him with the Goodfellows. And so for me, it just felt like at this time in my life is a natural progression for me.
What do you see as the most important local issue in Windsor-Tecumseh?
It's got to be our lack of representation, our lack of dollars coming to Windsor-Tecumseh and Essex County in general. We're going to be in a stand-in-line scenario for things like our hospitals, any infrastructure money coming this way. It's not coming when we have armchair quarterbacks sitting back and being the critic as opposed to having somebody with a voice at the table.
Speaking of which, the latest trade agreement with the U.S., what's your opinion of that?
Well, we're lucky it got done. We've been toyed with by the U.S. government because the people in the Prime Minister Trudeau's cabinet just haven't got the experience and the know-how to properly negotiate on this level. What we need is real representation. We need a conservative government that can negotiate with the U.S. without bringing in personal attacks against them. We have a great partner there, and we need to foster that relationship and not abuse it.
Well, a trade agreement generates jobs.
Yes.
And so, but there's still a lot of uncertainty in the economy, even though the economy basically is strong, but in Windsor there's a lot of uncertainty. What would you do as the conservative member from Windsor-Tecumseh to retain and attract new manufacturing jobs?
Well, we have a massive manufacturing history here of 150 years, and what we need to do is look at what the future is bringing: automation, artificial intelligence, technologies that are on the leading edge of technology, where we can, whether it's with energy production, whether it's in battery production, we need to attract job creators and investors. So we're going to go into the market internationally, the United States, find and target those people that are on the leading edge of these technologies and show them why Windsor is the best place to work and create an atmosphere where we're open for business.
What a lot of people overlook, especially in Windsor-Tecumseh, where you have Bonduelle, you have agri-food industry, as well as there's still some areas of Windsor-Tecumseh that are still rural and farmland. What do you propose to do for them?
Well, for those people, we are looking at helping them to bring their product to the market. I was just at the grocery store and bought some Bonduelle products that I was glad to see there, prepackaged salads, those kinds of value-added technologies where you can take what's being pulled out of the ground and add more value to it again and then bring it to the market. That's where we want to help small businesses and our local industry. The tourism industry in particular, when we talk about wineries, for example, how can we marry that concept, especially going to places like Caesars and having them become more of a hub for our tourist industry, bring that to our agricultural sectors. We need to create a much more diversified factor that way. So our agri-food needs to have more of a manufacturing component tied to it.
There are a lot of seniors in the Windsor-Tecumseh riding. What can you do for seniors?
We have a lot of cost-cutting measures coming up. So number one is getting rid of the carbon tax. It's such a huge chokehold on small businesses, and that's where 70% of our economy is, and all of those costs are going up. They've got nowhere to push the prices. Seniors are finding it more expensive to buy groceries. They're finding it more expensive to heat their homes. So we're going to eliminate the GST off your home heating bill. We're going to increase the age limit on the tax return. We're going to have a universal tax cut on for everybody. That'll affect everybody in the lowest income tax bracket. And there's plenty more to come in our platform for seniors.
Okay, what about pharmacare? Do you support pharmacare?
We are not in support of the pharmacare model that is being proposed. We know that 98% of Canadians have access to pharmacare, and that there is some people that are falling through the gaps. And what we would do, rather than nationalize it and destroy local business like Green Shield, we'd partner with them to go and help them find those 2% that are falling through the cracks and shore up that shortfall, so that we can make sure that everybody has access to pharmaceutical drugs at a very reasonable cost, that that industry is already in effect. They're already taking care of 98% of the population. They do it better than any nationalized system could do.
Is there any room on your agenda for dental care?
Yes, there is. We've been looking into not nationalizing, but to bring in dental care as a component for similar to pharmacare in helping companies like Green Shield to find those people who are missing out and require those services.
A lot of people are worried about climate change and the environment. What do you see as the biggest issue with the environment in Windsor-Tecumseh?
Well, we need to actually have a hard cap on the worst polluters. I don't believe in a carbon tax that has no. It's supposed to be a revenue neutral tool, but what it is it's another bureaucracy that's costing us money to collect that tax. It's redistributing funds to businesses like Loblaw that doesn't need it. It's where we gave Loblaws $12 million to buy freezers, and they said they don't need the money, but they took it anyways. So that kind of naive and nonsensical approach requires to be rethought. So I believe in actual hitting those that are the worst offenders and bringing in hard caps on them, not allowing them to trade, and finding them when they exceed those. We're also looking at bringing in, we know that 12% of the emissions issues in Canada is from buildings. And we want to implement a tax credit for those that can do an improvement to their home, and they would get up to $3,800 back on their tax bill for doing those home improvements to reduce the carbon emissions.
Is climate change on the agenda?
Yep. If you go to a realplan.ca from the Conservative Party, we've got it's over 30 pages of details in terms of what we're doing about the climate, about our environment, and about climate change and CO2 emissions. We also want to invest heavily in research and technology and development and those technologies that capture CO2. And those technologies are out there. They just need to be nurtured and brought up. Canada makes up 1.5% of the world's CO2 emissions. It's impossible for us to go down to zero. We're a northern climate. We have communities that, including Windsor, when it gets cold in the winter, we have to heat our homes. So there's going to be some CO2 emissions. What we would like to do is bring that technology to countries like the US, like Pakistan, like India and China that are the worst emitters and help them to reduce their emissions.
How about skilled trades? There's a shortage of skilled trades in Canada right now. Education is cranking up a bit, but we're going to need skilled trades right away. So there's been a suggestion that we bring in immigrant skilled trades.
Correct.
What do you think of that?
Our immigration policy is to restore fairness to our policies, to look at those areas where we need help, whether it's through foreign farm workers to work on with mushroom farms and tomato growers, etc., or to work in the trades, whether it's heating and cooling or it's electrical. All of those areas are what we're focusing on to say, let's bring those people over and help them to practice their trade. We're also looking at those citizens that already exist in Canada that are doctors and engineers that are being kept from practicing their trade, that are forced to drive cabs, and help them to get loaded up into our system so that they can become the practitioners that they already trained to be back home.
What are the voters telling you at the door?
So I started in over the summer. I've knocked on while my friends were at home taking it easy over the summer. I knocked on thousands of doors, and I'm about to eclipse 12,000 homes today. We've talked to those people, and what they're telling me is they're not happy with their prime minister. They're not happy with the ethics issues going on. They're not happy with the debt that we're in, over $705 billion in debt. They're also not happy with our lack of representation locally. They feel like there's millions of dollars that are being spent elsewhere and not being spent here in Windsor because we don't have anybody standing up and saying, this is wrong, we need to bring in these tax dollars for infrastructure to Windsor, Ontario, and to come see in Essex, where we haven't seen it in decades. An example, we put $250 million into the Asian Infrastructure Bank that's supposed to help Canadians to be able to work on projects in China. We haven't seen any return on investment on that, not one iota. That happened in 2015. That would build a lot of affordable homes in Windsor. We got $28 million from the federal government to build 500 homes. Another 250 would have sure helped to build a lot more. We need 5,000 of them here in Windsor alone.
Has anybody said anything out the door that surprised you?
Oh, I would say it's not what they said that surprised me, it's the number of people that have said that they're upset with their prime minister. That has been a pervasive issue I've been hearing at the door, and quite frankly, that's what surprised me the most.
You seem to be fighting a two-front battle because you're criticizing the current government, but yet the local representation is NDP. How does that work out for you?
Well, actually, it's kind of interesting because the alliance between the two, my liberal friend has not, in fact, had any criticisms against our local NDP representation, and they seem to be working together in order to get one of them elected. To me, it looks like the NDP is they're on the record for supporting the Liberal Party. They're both kind of they're giving the same message, and both are going to give the same results, and that's going to be continued debt with our Liberal government if they were to get in power.
Okay. Well, we're just about out of time, so
Alrighty.
What I'd like to do is give you a minute to tell the voters yourself, unfiltered, why they should vote for you.
Well, Leo Demarce. I'm running for the Conservative Party for Windsor-Tecumseh. I'm the only representative who's I've created 25 permanent jobs. I've been in business all my life. I'm here to work hard for you. I've got the ability to work across lines and across paradigms, political paradigms. I can work with our local representatives. I can work with our provincial representatives. I'm the guy that's going to work hard for you and bring a strong local voice to Windsor-Tecumseh and bring the dollars home.
Okay, Leo,
Thanks,
thank you
Rob.
for being here, and good luck
Much
for the rest of
appreciated.
the election. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on We Politics.